Heya Cryptozens, it's 10 p.m. Pacific time. My name is Nikodemus, and welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter, where we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. It's 10 p.m. November 1st. Let's take a look at what's going on. Just last night, we were talking about Argo blockchain. Now, Argo is a crypto miner that's run into some financial difficulties due to this crypto winter that we're stuck in. Well, now we've got another miner that's also showing signs of trouble. Things are reportedly looking a little shaky for Core Scientific. My understanding is they're considering bankruptcy, and it looks like some of this is coming from their bondholders talking to restructuring lawyers. So it looks like those convertible bondholders were working with the firm Paul Hastings. Now, this comes after a filing with the Securities Exchange Commission that indicates that there are some financial difficulties. According to this filing, Core Scientific failed to meet some of its financial obligations late last month and carrying on into November. Predictably, the causes cited were the same as Argo: high price of energy, low price of Bitcoin. They also cited an increase in the global Bitcoin hash rate and Celsius. That's right, Celsius again. So Core Scientific said in a court filing that Celsius owed them more than $2.1 million. And further, that they would continue to lose around $53,000 per day until that financial need is met. Now, Celsius, of course, disagrees. They're saying that Core Scientific failed to supply the amount of power agreed upon, and further, they delayed deployment of their mining rigs. In either case, like many tech stocks lately, Core Scientific saw their price drop from $1 and a penny piece to 17 cents each. That's a loss of more than 87%. Core Scientific did recently report that they had around $26 million in cash and 25 Bitcoin. However, they owe around $880 million. And this is a common theme. We're just now entering November, but we've been in the middle of crypto winter for months now, especially the miners. Compute North filed for Chapter 11 in September, and it looks like Argo is probably going to go under if they don't find financing soon. But it's not just the miners. Galaxy Digital, they're also running into some difficulties. They might also start layoffs soon, as much as 20%. This is according to a report by Bloomberg. Now, apparently, they're considering their optimal team structure and strategy, as Galaxy spokesperson Michael Worstorm put it. The market reacted poorly to the news, with Galaxy's shares down 3.5%. Worstorm said, quote, "While our industry continues to face macroeconomic headwinds, Galaxy remains focused on building for the future state of institutional adoption and on enhancing long-term shareholder value." And so you have to wonder how much of this is somewhat self-inflicted. Mike Novogratz is CEO of Galaxy Digital, and he was a huge supporter of the Terra blockchain. At one point, he got this big Luna tattoo on his arm. Galaxy Digital reportedly lost a ton of money in the Terra Luna Black Swan event. At one point, they took part in a $25 million fundraising round for Terraform Labs back in January of 2021. And I know that in August, they reported some $554 million in losses. Assets under management dropped 40% from the start of the year. Even with the expected cuts, Galaxy Digital's FTE count will be a net positive because they started off the year with less than 300 employees. And according to Novogratz, they're expecting to close out 2022 with more than 400. We were just talking about Huobi last night. Well, there are some rumors going on around them. Rumors that large-scale layoffs are coming. A spokesperson from Huobi Global is denying it, though. They said that the rumors are untrue, that the senior management team is doing their job as normal, and that they have no plans for large-scale layoffs. They also said that there is no truth to reports that two of their top executives have resigned. Because rumors have gone around about CEO Leon Lee and CFO Chris Lee, that both of them resigned, and it appears that these rumors stem from a Twitter post by Colin Wu. Now, this tweet cited people familiar with Huobi, and in that post was also a suggestion that there were just too many employees, that they were planning on slashing the 1,600 employee headcount. Rumors aside, a Huobi spokesperson countered, saying that there are no plans for mass layoffs and neither are there issues with their leadership, saying, quote, Huobi Global's senior management team is performing their duties as per normal and rumors of large-scale layoffs are untrue. At present, Huobi Global enjoys a healthy cash flow and the new shareholders have completed the capital injection. That aside, they admit that the crypto winter is affecting them as well. They said some cost-saving measures could be on the table. They didn't elaborate on what those measures could be, but they claim to be on solid financial footing at the moment, and that very well might be, because they've been experiencing their share of wins lately. Last August, they got permission to operate in Australia by registering as a digital currency exchange provider. In September, they set up a relationship with South Korea's city Busan. Huobi's role in the partnership is to provide support for Busan digital currency exchange. Potentially, the biggest bomb to drop was the announcement of About Capital Management. They became their largest shareholder after a successful buyout deal. In other news, we have Coinbase, because they've chosen to dogpile on top of the SEC. So what happened is that Coinbase filed paperwork to help Ripple Labs in their suit against the SEC, and that case could wrap up as early as the first half of next year. Paul Grewal is Coinbase's chief legal officer. He said in a series of Halloween tweets that Coinbase had asked Judge Torres for permission to file an amicus brief. He said that there is a textbook example of how critical fair notice is. He also pointed out that a fundamental part of U.S. constitutional theory is that you can't just declare someone guilty of a crime if you haven't told them that what they're doing is illegal. He said, quote, by suing sellers of XRP tokens after making public statements signaling that those transactions were lawful, the SEC has lost sight of this bedrock principle. And so this is another interested party potentially joining the case on the side of Ripple Labs. That is, if the judge signs off on it. Also on the same day, John Deaton filed a motion also looking to file an amicus brief. In this case, on the behalf of the XRP community, as well as briefs submitted by the Crypto Council for Innovation and Valho Capital. Spent the Bits and Investor Choice Advocates Network were already granted permission to file their amicus briefs in October. The crypto advocacy group, the Blockchain Association, also announced that they were supporting Ripple Labs. They filed their amicus brief in response to Gary Gensler. They said that Gensler's views on securities laws would have devastating effects on the crypto space. Brad Garlinghouse is Ripple's CEO. He was on a panel at DC FinTech Week in October, and it was there that he said that he thinks this whole thing could be done as early as the first half of next year. That said, he couldn't pin down a specific date. Staying with investigations here, let's talk about Tether. Because after months of stagnation, the criminal case against Tether's executives has been handed off to someone else. Now, the DOJ's investigation will be headed up by Damian Williams. Williams is a U.S. attorney with the Southern District of New York. And so it was in July of 2021 that the feds were investigating Tether's executives. There was a question of whether or not Tether was open and honest with the banks that they were working with in the early days of the stablecoin's existence. So, Tether responded via blog post yesterday, and they said that they're engaged with the authorities, quote, helping the department with some of the biggest cybercrime and national security cases in the country. They also said, quote, Tether executives have had no interaction with the DOJ in connection with any investigation for well over a year, and the DOJ does not appear to be actively investigating Tether. I don't expect that any of this is going to help people's impression of Tether. They've been working hard to improve their public image, doing things like cleaning up all the commercial paper from their reserves. And part of that is from things like back in February of 2021, because Tether paid an $18.5 million settlement to clear up accusations that it covered up the loss of almost $1 billion in customer funds. So, why did the case go here? Well, we know that it hasn't moved forward for months, but that's not all. The Southern District of New York is almost acting like a magnet, pulling crypto cases in. It could be that because of all of the recent cases like Voyager and Celsius, they could be seen as developing a certain expertise on the subject. And speaking of Celsius, they've come up a couple times tonight. They were dealt another blow again today. This time coming from Judge Martin Glenn, who said that he was shocked by Celsius's plans while planning on withholding that information from the public. He said that was completely unacceptable. So here's what's up. Today, Judge Glenn struck down a proposal put forth by Celsius. Celsius wanted to pay nearly $3 million in retention bonuses. We were just talking about this the other day. Because, as everybody knows, Celsius is in a spot. They have these employees that know that their days at Celsius are numbered. I'm sure many of them have already fled for greener pastures. So how do you keep people at a dead-end company when they know that there's no future? You throw money at them, specifically retention bonuses. And this is apparently what Celsius was proposing. Sorta. Because on October 11th, Celsius filed for Judge Glenn to approve their Key Employee Retention Plan, or KERP. They want to divide almost $3 million between 62 employees. And they said that this is necessary, in part, because these are employees who were promised that they would be paid in Celsius's native token. So they weren't getting paid hardly any fiat at all. Only crypto that's dropping in price. Well, there was a 3-hour meeting today. And remember, the judge had said in the past that he doesn't specifically have a problem with the bonuses, just that Celsius hadn't done a good job of justifying them. Well, he did take exception today, because Celsius's plans in a second filing would see most of the details of this retention plan kept under seal, hidden from the public. This would include things like job titles, job descriptions, salaries, and proposed retention bonus amounts. The judge said, quote, "I'm telling you, I was shocked when I saw the redactions. I have never seen anyone try to redact everything. That's not going to happen in this case. Everything's blacked out. You've got to be kidding." No. Instead, Judge Glenn sided with the U.S. Trustee's Office. Now, they're arguing against the retention plan. They said that hiding this information meant that creditors and other observers could not vouch that those people were actually entitled to their roughly $50,000 in bonuses. He said, quote, "Without a sufficient public record, I'm not prepared to go forward. I want anyone looking at the record to be able to see that the proposed rewards are reasonable in relation to the current salary ranges of different categories of people." He added, quote, "I do believe that there's a basis for approving a plan in this case, but it hasn't made it out." And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. Good night.